What it is, what it do. You already know who it is. It's your boy. Back again with another episode of Doki Doki Blue Skies. Where we last left off, we announced to the literature club that we are now dating Yuri, and it's official. And then we went through some sad Yuri hours, and Yuri finally told us, well, not told us, we ended up finding out what was wrong with her. And we're gonna see if we can help her out. I don't know what's gonna happen now, but I'm excited to see where it goes. If you are too, you already know what to do. Hit the like button, and stay tuned, because here we go. As I'm slowly roused back to consciousness, I let out a long yawn, watching the faint stream of sunlight permeate my room. I'm still feeling a little drowsy, so I should just... Wait, why does my chest feel so warm? As my eyes take in the sight in front of me, the memories of last night come flooding back. Oh, wait. Oh, because I think Yuri and him slept in the same bed last night. The cuts, the fear on her face, the plea to stay with me overnight. One of her sleeves has pushed up slightly, affording me a sight I didn't have access to. That could have been worded better, I'm gonna be honest. Seeing such marks on Yuri's pale arm, some of which still look fairly new. I wince, as though it's my own flesh which bears the scars. Why? How? So many questions, so little time. A small sound from Yuri pulls me away from the flurry of thoughts in my head. It sounds like a content sigh. If I look closely, I can make out a small smile on her face as she clings to me a little harder. A wave of happiness courses through me, which, having seen her scars again, feels a little foreign. Still, it feels incredible to have someone you love cuddle up against you in their sleep. Something about the physical closeness during such an intimate moment. Yep, it's a fantabulistic feeling, my friend. I could relate. I miss that feeling, but I could relate. I reach out and gently stroke the top of her head. She smells faintly of lavender. Her hair is soft and silken. It's a given that someone like Yuri takes care of herself, I suppose, with no parents around. Is that when she started? No. I don't want this moment ruined by anything. We're gonna talk about all that stuff later. I just want to see her happy. So for now, I just focus on the smell and softness of her hair, along with the feel of her head on my chest. You know, that's an interesting theory. When both of her parents passed on, she decided to start self-mutilation as a way to cope with that. But yeah, he's right. Let's not think about that right now. That's too sad. I don't know how much longer we stayed in that peaceful embrace, but eventually, Yuri stirs, offering me a smile as she rises from my chest. Rubbing her eyes as she slowly sits up, she lets out a small yawn. There's silence for a moment. You were up before I was? Yeah, hard to believe, right? Don't worry, I find it just as hard to believe as you do. My attempt at humor is weak. Yuri laughs as well, but it's easy to tell that it's a little forced. There's no denying the tension. The elephant in the room may have been averted while we were sleeping, but there's no escape now. So, Yuri, I was wondering. She abruptly gets out of the bed and heads for the door. With a glance back in my direction, she speaks. Her assertive tone surprises me. Let's make breakfast, Qilin. But, please. She turns to face me, and while she isn't making eye contact, I could read the message on her face. Let's not talk about it. Let's just move on and do something else. Not yet. Wearily, I climb out of bed and follow her down the hallway, wondering how the rest of the day will go. To say that breakfast wasn't a comfortable affair would have been quite the understatement. Yuri wasn't making eye contact and even stopped frequently to ensure her sleeves were completely covering her wrists, boy, this is awkward. It's like, so what can we talk? Like, can we talk about it? No. Can we talk about it? No. Can we talk about it? No. I want to talk about it. I said no. Every time she picked up a knife to cut some food, I couldn't help but wince. My mind was doing me no favors. Has she cut herself with a knife? She has. Don't worry, it's not with any of your knives though. She has a whole knife collection back home. Last night she used a razor blade. Does she have a stash of them at home? Or is her cutting habit related to her knife collecting hobby? Ah, he's starting to put the dots together in his head. The tension has grown tenfold since she woke up. I'm desperately trying to think of a way to break the uneasy silence, but I can't come up with anything. Diplomacy can only get me so far. How am I meant to even approach the topic? I've never had a friend who's self-harmed before. Me neither. I mean, I told you guys about that one girl I knew from middle school who used to do it. And I ran into her like a couple years ago when we worked at the same Dunkin' Donuts with each other. And I know she had stopped by then, but if you looked at her arms, you could still see all the scars from when she did do it. So all the rumors that they were talking about and in middle school were true is actually pretty sad to see. I wasn't that close to her though, but she was a nice girl, at least from what I can remember. I stare into the last remaining crumbs of my meal. Eating in silence has proven to be unbelievably awkward. Desperate for something to do, I stand up and head for the sink. At least the prospect of washing up my plate gives me something to focus on. As I stand up by the sink, Yuri's voice pierces the silence. I'm really sorry. For what? She gestures around her. For this. For everything. I dump the unwashed plate in the sink and walk over to her. She's staring forlornly at the ground. You don't have to apologize for anything. Seriously. Am I the only person who knows? Yes. Then, well, sorry if I sound so presumptuous, but, well, I imagine it must be pretty hard, right? Very much so. It's a little overwhelming. I take one of her hands in mine. She's shaking. It's okay, Yuri. It's okay. Just take your time. There's no rush. She nods. I imagine you probably have a few questions you want to ask. There's no point in trying to beat around the bush here. Yeah, there are. I wonder how direct that sounds. Then again, I am really curious, so I can't exactly win either way, can I? No, you cannot. You just have to be patient with her and take it slow. Let her open up to you at her own pace, and you just have to sit there and listen. She takes a deep breath. What would you like to know? Oh boy, where do I even begin? How long has she been an orphan for? When did she start cutting? There's so many choices. It's probably best to start with an understanding of her self-harm, though. Well, why do you do it? She closes her eyes and slowly lets that breath out through her nose. She's still closing her eyes as she talks. It's a way of coping. Huh? It's how I deal with the sadness and self-loathing within. Self-loathing? People have never liked me, Qilin. All throughout my life, I have never been accepted. People never understood me, nor did they even take the time to try to. I've never been particularly sociable. As you can see, I much prefer to keep to myself. Now, that alone wouldn't be too bad. Some people misread the introversion, but combined with my fascination for horror and knife collecting hobby, these things combined tend to make people see me as a creep, a freak, an outcast, that quiet girl in the back who doesn't speak much, the girl who's fascinated by the macabre. It's no wonder they judged me. Anyway, so that's why. She takes a few deep breaths. She takes a few deep, shaky breaths in an attempt to calm herself down. I didn't realize how difficult this must be for you to talk about. I'm so sorry. The angry look on her face startles me. I was just about to say, like, don't say you're sorry. It sounds patronizing. You shouldn't be patronizing Yuri. No! Don't you ever apologize for my own shortcomings, Qilin. I deserve to be weak. But you don't! Why would you even think that? Because, like I said, I was always judged for who I was. Initially, I thought it was everyone else who was wrong. She laughs bitterly. Oh, such arrogance. No, it wasn't them who were wrong. It was me. But if it were just one person who judged me in such a way, well, I would be inclined to believe the problem lied in them. But it wasn't just one person. It was everyone. There gets to a point where you finally realize that it's not them who are the problem. It's you. It was bad, but I could deal with it because I at least had my parents to help me. Given I'm the first person who knows of her self-harm, does that mean her parents died without knowing Yuri was doing it? Yes. As if by reading my mind, Yuri answers that very question. No, not even my parents knew. And that's when it began. I hated keeping myself home from them. I didn't want them to know. It scared me even as it was, and I couldn't imagine how much it would scare them. I was terrified when I first tried it. I remember the day it started. Some other students mocked me relentlessly because I stuttered during a class reading. I always used to dread reading aloud. And I remembered at lunchtime, I locked myself in one of the bathroom stalls. I didn't mean to cut myself. I just wanted to admire one of my knives. Despite it being a constant reminder of what's wrong with me, just holding something so dear to me was so comforting. I gripped it too hard, and that's when I discovered it. Sorry about that. That was my sister entering the room. The rush that felt like the perfect release. It was tangible, but it was also terrifying. It felt so good, having that physical release. But I was in shock. I couldn't believe what I had done. I felt like such a freak. I don't know what to say. Words are beyond me at this point. How am I even meant to reply to what I'm hearing? Sometimes you don't need to reply to something you're hearing. Sometimes you just gotta nod and continue. My parents were the only people who have accepted me for who I was. Even though they didn't know about the self-harm, they never judged me for my taste in literature, nor did they question my interest in knives. When school was a torment, I sought solace in knowing that no matter how bad it got, I was safe at home. Fresh tears start to trickle down her face once more. Oh yeah, you can see the tears. Until they died. And just like that, I had lost them. The only support I ever had. I reach out to brush away Yuri's tears. She doesn't move, or do anything else to acknowledge that I'm even there. Throughout her heart-wrenching explanation, Yuri had been trying to maintain control over her voice and face. The stuttering and pained expressions that occasionally flickered over her features showed all I needed to know. As I scooped her into my arms, the dam that I've been trying so hard to contain... she's been trying so hard to contain finally burst. She sobs unrestrainedly into my chest as her anguished cries filled the room. I miss them so much, Qilin. My vision is blurry as she drenched the front of my shirt. I could physically feel her cries on my chest, right next to my heart. I want to see them again. I want to stop pretending that the person I'm in the arms of right now is my dad. There isn't anything I'd give to hear them ask me how my day was, even if it was awful. Anything at all. Please. My brain is in a frenzy. Say something, Qilin. Say something, damn it. Anything. Oh man, this is so sad, man. Oh gosh, this is sad. I feel for Yuri too, because you guys won't know this, but at the time I'm recording this, it would be 3 days ago that my dog Santos had passed away, and I was right there in front of him when he did. And the pain I've been feeling for the past 3 days has just been brutal. Not only for me, but my entire family. And Santos's brother, Nikos. We've all just been going through it, so I really feel for Yuri right now. Yuri, it's going to be okay. You're not alone anymore. I'm here. I'm with you. And I'm never going to leave you. Oh, those are strong words, man. You better mean them. You better mean them and stick by them, because if you don't, you're going to look like such an asshole, and Yuri will never be able to trust anyone ever again. I promise. She looks up with big, wet, purple eyes. Aww. You really mean that? Because I don't know what I'd do if I lost you as well, Qilin. Of course I mean it. I swear on it. You're my girlfriend and I love you. Even after everything I've just told you. She gestures miserably to her wrists. Even with these. The venomous disdain in her voice is frightening to hear. I wasn't even sure she was capable of such scorn? Negativity? She's like, even with these! I love you for who you are, Yuri. Which includes everything you hate about yourself. Scars or not, you're my girlfriend, and nothing's going to change that. Oh, Qilin. A strange look overcomes her face when her breathing grows ragged at a fast pace. Oh no. Oh no. Oh god. Yuri? Are you okay? Sorry, I just... This is so much to take in. Her hand suddenly darts to her wrist. And in that instant, I suddenly realize the situation we're in. She needs a release. She needs to do the thing. And we're like, no. Bad Yuri, we just talked about this. Yuri? Stay with me. Please. I can't. Yes, you can. Focus on my voice. Look at me. I'm doing my absolute best not to descend into an utter state of panic. For both our sakes. I can't let her start cutting again. She tentatively scratches at the flesh on her wrist. It starts off slow, but quickly grows in frequency and intensity. In desperation, I reach for her hand. Yuri, just talk to me. Say something. Anything. What's going on in your mind? I'm not sure if asking her to describe the urge is going to help. It could actually be harmful. But I'm finding it hard to think straight, and the tiny voice of reason in my head is telling me that distracting her and forcing her to talk to me is the right thing to do. Well, distracting her is the right thing to do, yes. Though I remember in Fruits of the Literature Club, the main character of that mod told Yuri to try drawing on herself instead of actually mutilating herself. And I wonder if Yuri doing that in this case might be helpful for her. I need a release. Whenever I feel like this, She tries to wrench her hand free from my grip, but there's no way she's getting free. I tilt her head up so she has to make eye contact with me. You know, I wonder. She says she needs to release. I wonder if we're going in a direction I think we might be going in. I wonder. My body needs the pain. I need the control. The cutting, it helps me make sense of everything. Sense of everything? She swallows and her eyes focus on me, on mine. The physical pain is something tangible that I can actually feel. Something I can make sense of. When I feel emotionally overwhelmed, I feel so powerless. The cutting helps me regain that control that I desperately need. It sounds really... I know it sounds crazy, but it helps me feel alive. When I'm so mentally overwhelmed, the numbness, it's without mercy. So I need something to focus on, and that's exactly what the pain serves as. But why do you have to use a blade? Can't you just, I don't know, pinch yourself or scratch? You have no idea what the urge is like, Qilin. My whole body screams for that release. Scratching or pinching it would never satisfy that urge. Yuri's breathing slowly grows more regular. She's no longer trying to wrench her hand free from my grasp, so I tentatively let go, although I remain close, anticipating another attempt. I've never been in a position where I've had the urge to cut when I'm around someone else. Do you still feel the need to cut? Yes, but it's a lot more manageable now. I think I'll be okay. My God, am I relieved to hear that? Shit. I had no idea how to deal with this. I told you I was a freak. You're not a freak. You've just been through a lot. And cutting happens to be how you deal with the trauma. It's hardly a healthy coping mechanism, though, is it? Well, I'm not gonna say no. I wouldn't disagree, per se. No, it isn't. It doesn't even need to be said. Okay, so yeah, it isn't a healthy way to cope at all, but either way, I'm just glad you told me. Why are you glad, Qilin? And more importantly, how can you not think I'm a freak? I don't know. I don't know why, but I don't see this as freakish behavior at all. I mean, is it strange? Yes. Is it sad? Yes. Is it self-destructive? Of course. However, when you're in a situation where you feel alone, you feel emotionally overwhelmed, you've been traumatized, as people, we have to find a way to cope with the trauma. Some people do it through food, some people do it through alcohol. Yuri is doing it through self-harm. Some people do it through video games. Some people do it through writing very cringy, edgy poetry. I mean, I don't know. It's just people find different ways to cope with trauma. Yuri's been traumatized, so we just need to help her find a different way to overcome that trauma and a different way to cope. And if we could be there for her to help her, in addition for Yuri trying to help herself, then we could eventually get her to a point where she may not have to rely on cutting herself anymore to be a healthy person. And that's all we could really aim for. And that's all you could really do at the end of the day to help somebody else. If they're going through some trauma, just be there for them and support them as best you can. Don't be their crutch, but be a shining light for them to help them see through the darkness. That's what I like to do for people I know. It makes me sad, sure, but it doesn't creep me out. Plus, I like to think I have an open mind, you know? Yuri smiles ruefully at my words. You remind me a little of my father. He was the one who introduced me to knives, back when I was just a little girl. As eager as I was to learn about her self-harm, I'm grateful that this is an opportunity to discuss something else. The incident just now was just staggering. What were your parents like? Oh,
They were wonderful. I couldn't have asked for better.
You never told me about how you first got into horror. It's a guess, but was it your parents who introduced you to the genre? After everything that's happened so far today, the genuine smile on her face was truly a sight to behold.
How did you know?
I'm psychic. I use my psychic powers.
I can see the future. I'm really feeling it.
Kidding. I'm just very intuitive. Coming from the guy who's as dense as a rock. I just had an idea. Why don't you tell me more about it over a nice cup of tea? I don't know about you, but I'm definitely in the mood for a hot drink.
I like that a lot.
Awesome. Let's get started then. As I was hoping, the change of topic combined with the relaxing tea has really helped bring a sense of normality to the day. Of course, the after effects of the morning still linger in the air. Yuri is still on edge, but we're at least able to work it out.
Funnily enough, me getting into horror actually stemmed completely from chance.
What do you mean?
Well, one day, both of my parents were out. It was a rainy day, so I couldn't go outside. Naturally, I was confined to the house. I was wandering around, looking for something new to read. I happened to find a copy of an old ghost story that my father left out, and immediately began reading. Given that it was a book for adults, I really didn't understand what was going on, but I was able to get the general gist. When my parents came back, my dad was surprised to see me reading it. Clearly, he didn't expect that I'd like it. I remember how my mother scolded him for being so callous, rather. She didn't like the idea of her young daughter reading such a dark tale. I remember he pretended to be apologetic, but when she was out of sight, he eagerly asked me what he made of the story. He asked me what I made of the story so far. It was obvious that he didn't really understand it, so he offered to read it with me, helping me out with the more complex words and explaining the story as it progressed.
What was the story about? Must be pretty good if you remember it so well.
For you see, long ago, in the fiery pits of Tartarus, by the Grand Master of Lucifer himself, in the time before the world began. It was an old Victorian tale about a young governess who was sent to look after her family's young children in their summer home.
And there it is, that passionate fire in her eyes, the kind of fervor only seen when Yuri talks about the interest she holds dear to her. How someone could ever shame someone for such a passion. It sickens me how cruel people can be.
She begins to see figures of a man and woman around the house, but the servants of the house deny seeing such figures. Soon, the governess learns that her predecessor used to have a relationship with another employee, and before these two died, they spent much time with the children. Given that these figures seem to come and go at will, and haven't been seen by the other employees, she quickly suspects that they were supernatural in nature. I couldn't quite remember the ending, but I'll never forget its clever writing. We, as readers, are never given any concrete answers as if these figures are real, or merely a figment of her imagination. Was the governess just hallucinating? Or did the ghosts of these people really prowl through the house? We'll never know.
Sounds to me like she was just imagining it, to be honest.
Although it seems kinda coincidental how the ghosts seem to perfectly match the profile of her predecessor and her lover. Indeed.
Oh, wait, what? Oh, that was me. That was me. Although it does seem kind of coincidental how the ghost seems to perfectly match the profile of her predecessor and her lover.
Indeed. What more is that the young boy was revealed to have been expelled, and it's heavily hinted that he did to earn such a punishment was terrible in nature.
Oh?
With such a suspicious outlook, it's natural that the reader doubts the children's claims of innocence, especially when the governess asks if they too saw the figures.
Ghostly apparitions. Creepy, suspicious children. I feel the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. Yeesh. Even from Yuri's description, the plot sounds exceptionally gripping. There's a dreamy tone in Yuri's voice as she speaks.
And I remember, my father encouraged me to question whether the ghosts were real. As a child, I took things at face value. The governess said she saw them, so that's what I believed. But he taught me how to approach things from another angle, how to consider other viewpoints. In turn, it helped broaden my appreciation for such clever writing. And to this day, I still wonder if the ghosts were real.
So your analytical approach came from your dad.
I suppose you could say that, yes. He was always methodical and organized in nature, so it's a given that his personality rubbed off on me.
I think he'd be very proud of you, Yuri. If he could see you now. Tears slowly leaked down her face once more.
Would he? I hid so much from him.
I pull her close to me, tenderly caressing her cheek with my hands. We all have our demons, Yuri. Everyone has things they regret, and things they don't want other people to know. To hell with other people if they judge you for the things you like, or your quiet nature. Because I love your characteristics. Even if you hate them, I love them. They make you who you are. If you enjoy horror, if you enjoy collecting knives, who has any right to shame you for it? Fuck 'em. He's like, go fuck 'em. I'm sorry, just such a shifted tone. He's like, you know, who cares what they think? Fuck 'em. He's like, they don't know any better. Fuck those guys. She gives me a watery smile.
Thank you, Qilin. You really do mean so much to me. And I'm so glad that we met. Having someone like you in my life is... I can't describe it in words.
Well, must be tough then, if even you can't describe it. Yuri makes a sound that sounds like a mix of a laugh and a sob. Hey, Yuri?
Yes, Qilin?
If you don't mind me asking, when did your parents, you know, shuffle off this mortal coil? It's okay, you don't have to answer.
Last February. It was a car crash.
Ah, right. I'm so sorry. It's probably insensitive of me to even ask. I mean, given everything that you've been talking about, I mean, it's only right that you'd want to know. And given how close you two are at this point, I feel like Yuri would be comfortable enough to share.
It wasn't. I've been keeping a lot of things from you, so it's only fair that I should stop doing that. After all, you're my boyfriend now. It still feels a little strange to say that. Not in a bad way, though. Ooh.
I feel exactly the same way, you know? I still find it hard to believe that such a beautiful, intelligent girl fell for me. I must be the luckiest guy on the planet.
Don't be silly, Qilin. You have such a big heart. Any girl would be lucky to have you. To be honest, I'm surprised that you and Sayori...
Sayori and I?
Yes, well, given you were childhood friends, I imagine you would have gone together with her soon after seeing her again.
Well, well, you'd have thought, right? I mean, you said so much earlier. In another lifetime, Sayori and I would be dating right now. But I decided to go with you, Yuri, because you're the only girl's route I haven't seen in this mod. I've seen Natsuki's route, I've seen Sayori's route, except for the ending. I'm gonna have to play Sayori's route to play through the ending. But I wanted to play through your route because 1, I haven't seen it, and 2, you're a good girl, Yuri. And we're good to be here for you. Right, everyone? I heard you all say right.
She would have been a much better girlfriend, too.
Hey, look at me. It takes a little bit of coaxing, but eventually she reluctantly makes eye contact. Sayori will always be a wonderful friend of mine. Yes, we have that history together. but I'm not living in the past. You and I have a special connection that I can't explain. There's something about you that drew me in all those months ago.
But she's so happy, so energetic and bubbly.
Ah, see, but Yuri, that's where you're wrong. She wants you to think she's energetic and bubbly. She puts on that facade to hide the fact that deep down, Sayori is really she's really going through a lot of sadness and pain that I believe only Monica knows about at this point. I mean, we would know about it if we went down her route, but if you know anything about DDLC and Sayori, you know that the happy facade that she puts on is just that, a facade. It's a mask. Beneath the mask is the pained expression of a teenage girl suffering through depression, who also cares about her friends and wants to make everyone around her happy, to hide the fact that she's actually suffering on the inside. It's actually very deep and it's actually very deep sort of, what am I looking for? A deep insight into a fictional character, I guess. I don't know how to word it properly. The point is it's deep, and it's very interesting.
Wouldn't you rather have a girl like that, instead of a broken, miserable mess like me?
I shake my head. That's not how I see things, Yuri. Surprisingly, she doesn't back down.
Answer the question, Qilin.
I stare at her, both confused and surprised. I'd rather have you.
Even though I'm an ugly freak with these horrible scars all over me.
Oh, uh-oh. Okay, well, wait. Oh, alright. I'm gonna say you're beautiful. And if that's not the right answer, then I'll just hop in the time machine again. Yuri, either with or without your scars, you're beautiful. And nothing will ever change that, okay? No one will ever be able to convince me otherwise. I chose you for a reason. Never forget that.
I don't know. It's not that easy.
I know it isn't. Just try to remember, okay?
I'll try my best, Qilin.
You don't look particularly convinced.
It's not that I doubt the integrity of your words. I just spent my entire life feeling this way, so as much as your words are a breath of fresh air, it's one thing to hear them, but it's another thing entirely to internalize them.
Okay, so, just out of curiosity, I'm going to go into the time machine and see what happens if I say, your scars are beautiful. They're not horrible, Yuri. Your scars are beautiful.
No! No, they're not! They're nothing but a hideous, ugly reminder of who I am. But, sorry, but do you mind if we did something else?
Okay. Alright, cool. Cool. So, I made the right decision the first time around. I just wanted to check. Okay. Because I figured it'd be she's really insensitive about her scars, so I figured it'd be really dumb of me to be like, Yuri, what are you talking about? Your scars are beautiful. When we know that's not true. She knows that's not true. So so I felt like the right thing to do in this situation would be to say, look, I love you despite that. Your scars don't define who you are. Yes, they're a part of you, but that's a part that we could work on. And no matter what, at the end of the day, I like you for you and I'm sticking with it. I feel like that was the right thing to say. And I believe it was the right thing to say in this situation, so. Awesome. I'll be with you for as long as it takes. She closes her eyes and squeezes my hands.
Hearing that means so much more than you could ever imagine. Anyway.
The sound of my stomach loudly gurgling fills the room. Wow. Amazing timing as ever, Qilin. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I suppose that this is a good time to go and make some food, don't you think?
Are you sure?
Yes. I think a return to normalcy will do us good.
Ah, okay. I guess that makes sense. Also, technically, now that we know that Yuri's parents are, no longer around, she technically doesn't have a need to go back to her house. I mean, she'll probably need to check on stuff and, like, change clothes and everything, but technically, Yuri could just stay in our place, especially since we're dating now. I don't really see a need for her to leave.
I did find a dish online a few days ago that I want to try. Do you have any daikon by any chance?
I wouldn't even know where to start with cooking a daikon radish.
I'll take that as a no, then. I think the grocery store has some.
I would hope so. Lead the way.
By the way, Qilin?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for listening to me. It was daunting to share my self-harm with another person. After balling up for so long, I was scared of how you would react.
I didn't say the wrong thing, did I?
No, of course not. You've been really understanding. But most importantly, accepting. And that's what I love about you. How tolerant you are. Well, and many other things.
Ha! Well... I rubbed the back of my head in embarrassment. Yuri smiles bashfully at me.
Sorry, I'll stop embarrassing you now. Let's go.
Oh, it's adorable. Oh, we're doing good things, ladies and gentlemen. We're doing good things. We're helping Yuri out. We're helping her feel better, which is good. I'm happy. Let's see what happens now, though. It's Monday. Good golly, I've never hated a Monday more than today. How am I supposed to focus on classwork after everything that happened last weekend? Why can't I just stay home with Yuri all day? Oh, that'd be the wave, bro. That'd be the wave. Hey, either become a multimillionaire or make a bunch of streams of income that you get passively that you don't need to actively work with. Enough to support you and Yuri so that you and Yuri could just kick back and stay home all day or do whatever you want. That's the way to do it. Money for nothing, get your chicks for free. I just want to cuddle under the covers with her and talk until I truly understand her. Well, technically I could do that, but Yuri definitely wouldn't spring for it. Knowing her, she'd balk at the thought of missing school. Despite having all these problems and even bullies to deal with. Actually, that's kind of strange. How she never misses school. Even if she's a total bookworm, she's gotta feel at least some reluctance, right? Especially on the bad days, or on days where the bullies come after her. I mean, we haven't seen any bullies in school, though. Like, actually. At least in, like, the side stories for DDLC, we've seen Natsuki's friends, like, kind of bully her, so we actually got to see bullies. I think the only one time we saw, like, a bully quote-unquote bully in this mod was during the festival when the green-haired dude was like, whatever, bro, you're here for the cupcakes. This place sucks. Bleh. I think that's the only time we've seen, like, bullies here. Fortunately, the bullies only target her when she's alone, and between the club and I, Yuri's not alone often anymore. But even if the bullies are taken out of the equation, it can't be easy going to school sometimes. But if my unwillingness can be strong on exam days, how must she feel on certain days? She said that she cuts when she feels overwhelmed. Don't tell me she... at school? Damn it, Qilin. Stop thinking these things. Stop doubting Yuri. But, aren't I right in worrying about Yuri like this? Yes, you are right in worrying about Yuri like this. Don't feel ashamed. It's only natural because 1, you're her boyfriend, and 2, you've learned a lot about her this past weekend. So it's only fair that your mind will be racing like this. You just have to 1, trust her, and 2, if she's slipping, you have to catch her. Is this doubt well placed? Maybe doubt is the wrong word. After all, I'm just genuinely worried about her mental and physical health. I don't want to say doubt, more like anxiety, not hesitation. It's another word that begins with the A. Apprehension. The word you're looking for is apprehension. There we go. How can I not? After seeing her arm like that. And I don't even know if she cuts anywhere else on her body either. She's gotta have done that, right? There's only so much you could cut a single arm. Well, she's probably cut up her other arm. Maybe her feet. Who knows? Eventually, you're gonna get it in with her and you'll see. Actually, that'll be interesting. I wonder how the artist did that. Burying my face in my hands, I sigh. Ah, why do I feel suddenly so guilty about asking these things, about thinking these things? I don't want to change how I see Yuri, but at the same time, I just can't help it. Do I just ignore it and try to treat her normally? But I still have to be careful of triggering an episode. At the same time, I don't want to expect that she cuts 24/7, 365. She doesn't do that, does she? I don't even know how often she harms herself. Obviously, she can't do it while she's talking to someone, but when she's alone, well, she only said that she does it when her feelings come to a head, though. A freak. She called herself a freak. I have to wonder, did she start calling herself that on her own accord? Or did she internalize others' words? Could be both. Though I'm leaning more towards her internalizing other people's words. Sleeping again, Qilin? Not this time, I swear. Pfft, seems like I don't catch you sleeping any. See to it that I don't catch you sleeping anymore, young man. You got it. I did notice that you were zoned out the whole day, though. Anything up with you? Nah, not really. Just been thinking about stuff. Is there anything up with you? No, just thinking. That means something's up with you, bro. By the way, what would you define a freak as? Why are you asking this all of a sudden? Just answer the question. I guess a freak would be a person who's abnormal. Huh, that's it? But can't you say that I'm a freak then? If, for instance, I watch anime more than the average person? Well, no. A freak would be abnormal in a grotesque kind of way. That is, if you were to call someone a freak in a mean-spirited manner. There are also loads of different definitions you could use, so you kind of need the context for it. Why? Is someone bullying you? I'll fuck him up. Shiori's tone suddenly sharpens into a more serious one. No, but thanks for the concern. She immediately relaxes at that. That's why we elected her as the representative. She genuinely cares about the class. Good old Shiori. I'm just wondering. If you ever need to think out loud, I'll be here. That's my duty as class rep. No, as your friend. Thanks. If we're in the same class next term, I'll be sure to vote for you again. Thanks. Are you heading to the literature club after this? Yep. What are you doing after school? I'm in the kendo club. Oh, that's lit. Kendo? Yo, she's a kendo-ka? Neat, bro. Neat. Kendo-ka. Dang. I thought you were part of the band club, but I didn't know you also did kendo. I may be short, but I'm pretty good at it, if I do say so myself. Well, it makes sense if you're short, people have a hard time hitting you. You could duck around and hit them. I'm trying to climb up the ranks in the club. With any luck, I'll be captain of the team by the time I'm a third year. It'd be a dream to become the ultimate swordswoman. Given how passionate you are about it, I'm sure you will. The bell rings, interrupting our conversation. Speaking of which, I gotta go. See you, Qilin. Have fun. My thoughts turn towards Yuri as I leave the classroom. Hopefully, it's not too much for her if I continue talking to her about everything. It should be a release for her, right? Well, it's a start, you know. It's not a physical release that she's accustomed to, but you being there for her, I'm sure, is helping assuage her urges a little bit, and that's progress. Hopefully we could get to the point where that more than satisfies her urges. Or at least, I hope so. You know, we can only hope, man. We can only hope.
Qilin.
Yuri's waiting for me at our usual spot. Hey, wanna get going?
Of course.
We walk in silence for a bit. It's like Yuri's secret is weighing down heavily on us. Or on me, at least. I don't know if the events of the weekend are on her mind as well. Maybe I'm just the one who's making things weird. Snap out of it, Qilin. Let's just lighten the mood a bit. You looking forward to the literature club?
As much as I would any other day, I suppose. Why? Is there something special happening today?
No, it's just that it feels so normal to be going to the club. Like, after what happened on the weekend. God dang it, Qilin, you just can't help returning to this topic, huh? He's like, you son of a gun, you bastard, you just had to ruin it. And Yuri's like, oh, I see you're still thinking about that. Oh, this freaking guy, man. This freaking guy, man. Well, it felt like things would change. But here we are, doing the same things as usual. Not that doing the same things is bad, though. Sorry for constantly talking about this stuff.
No, it's fine. It's only natural that you want to know more about everything. However, not all change is necessarily bad. For instance, it's been freeing to be able to share these feelings with someone.
Yuri brushes her hand against mine, causing me to grab hold of it. Yeah, I'm definitely glad that change happened. We arrive at the club room and step inside. For once, it seems like Yuri and I are the last ones to the club. And that's where we'll call the episode. I want to thank you guys for watching. I'd say this was a good one. It was more sad than I thought it was going to be, but hey, it's to be like, I guess, Sad Yuri Hour Part 2 with a little bit of humor. In any case, I want to thank you guys for watching. It's been real. It's been fun. It's your boy JQilin. Ciao for now.